Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 1.0.8, which I'm calling The Cure for Madness. And that is because I finally solved a bug that was probably driving a lot of you mad. Especially because you guys would report this, I would test it, and I could never replicate this damn thing. And I finally have. I have replicated it repeatedly, and I have got a fix for it. Everything's working a lot better now. In addition to this particular bug I'm talking about that's driving you guys crazy, I've got a couple of other major fixes. In fact, this patch is basically just my attempts at resolving some of the deepest issues that were so intimidating to look at that I'd been focusing on low-hanging fruit prior. But now that most of those are knocked out, now I am left with these big brutal bugs to take care of. So here we are. But before we get into the details on that, let's talk about patrons. So you guys have been supporting the mod in a big bad way. You guys continue to throw your support our way, and we really, really appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out to a few new patrons. If I don't get your name today, don't worry, I'll get you in a future video. But thank you guys. You're making it so much easier to do this project. You're making it fun because it like when you guys throw money at this thing, it means to me that it means something to you guys. It's one thing, I love the likes and comments, and those are awesome as well. It shows appreciation, but man, it takes something special for you guys to reach into your wallets. So it just really, 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 it means a lot. And so a shout out to Devin Ford, Elizabeth Hollingsworth, Lawrence Richard Jr., Lycans, Maximus Goob, Forrest, Doc Winter, Susan Hills. Thank you all, and thank you for those of you who've donated in other ways. Again, if you signed up for Patreon recently and I haven't gotten to your name, don't worry, I will very, very soon. So thank you guys all again for supporting our work on this massive project, and we've got a lot more to come. But for now, let's talk about the patch notes for today. So it's mostly just going to be bug fixes. I can't think of anything particularly new and exciting and flashy. If you're looking for features, you're not going to find them in the patch notes today. There might be a couple of little quality of life things for certain quests and whatnot, but primarily we were focused on, or rather the things worth mentioning were these big, deep system bugs. So the one that I talked about at the beginning that I thought was probably driving some of you mad was that you probably have run into this at some point or another. Those of you who play a lot have run into it plenty of times. And that is where the HUD seems to get stuck. In fact, I believe this bug probably was impacting SS1 as well, and I'm going to try and go back and patch that at some point, but I am scared to death of messing with the HUD from that because it's been so long since I wrote it that I'm afraid that I will just make things worse. But the bug in turn would end up making it so that whenever you went to your second settlement each play session, the HUD would just lock up and it would continue to show, it would show nothing, or it would show all the data from that previous settlement. But before it would do so, it would usually animate as if it was showing you fresh data, even though you'd be certain that there was something wrong. Like, this isn't quite right. And I could never replicate it, and that was because I wasn't following the right steps. And thanks to a couple of bug reports and me trying to make some changes to the HUD for something else, I stumbled upon the exact cause and was able to fix it. So you should find that the HUD is much more snappy and reactive and actually shows you the correct data. Now, I know there's still some improvements I can make to that. I showed you guys something in the last patch note video where you could have this hover thing. That's still a little bit wonky not because of this issue that I fixed, but just because of the way I had to pull that off. But there are definitely some improvements I can still make to the HUD, but it will be significantly better, especially after the first settlement that you visit. So it was always basically the first settlement you would show up to in your save when you loaded would be pretty decent, and then after that it would just be downhill. Well, now that should not be the case. It should just work the same throughout your play session. So in a good way, the same as in the first time you load into a settlement where it actually felt like it was showing the data that was accurate for that settlement. So very excited for that because the HUD is kind of your lifeblood in this, especially in SS2 versus SS1, where there's a lot of mechanics in SS2 that you can't really get that data anywhere else, especially for things like the virtual resource system. Like, that data isn't available anywhere. So if you don't have the HUD up and running, you're kind of boned there. So I am very, very much looking forward to hearing if I have actually fixed all these issues, or if you guys find some other way to trigger the issue that I just fixed. So definitely keep me posted on the forums if you find that you're still having responsiveness issues to the HUD. All right, now the next couple of things are related to assignment. So a lot of you guys have noticed and reported that you're having settlers end up with weird combinations of plots. And it's been one of these things that's been reported basically since the day the mod launched, and even a couple times in beta, and I've just never ever been able to replicate it reliably. And I finally figured out where all of the fuss was coming from. So it turned out that there was an issue with the auto assignment code in regards to people that were assigned to multi-person building plans. So if a house could support 3 people, or a training plot could support 2 people, or whatever, then everybody beyond the first person, their assignment could end up broken. And that was the problem, where I was not testing correctly to find the problem. It didn't occur to me that multi-assignment in particular was the cause of all of these issues. So basically, if you had many multi-person building plans in your settlement, then all of those people could constantly get reshuffled around. They could get assigned to weird combinations of things. And I believe I have that resolved. Now, in my brief tests, I did resolve everything, all of the issues that I was able to replicate. That's best I can do for now, and then I'm going to rely on feedback, because in order to find all the potential issues with all the different building plans and all the plot types we have, basically have to crowdsource it, so need some feedback from you guys. I haven't heard anything negative from the testers in this regard, so I assume that the changes have been positive overall, or at worst neutral, so there's nothing worse happening. But the type of bug that it was very obvious that it was a mistake. So it's, no matter what, it's going to be a general improvement. Hopefully, this will incidentally just fix all sorts of random issues that I hadn't even occurred to me. In fact, one of those issues that was kind of tied to this was another thing that people had been reporting that I was struggling to replicate, and that's the special training not working correctly. So it turned out the special training has been working, but there are 2 things about it that weren't working as expected. So the first was that training is much slower than people expect. So I think they assign their settlers to it and expect their special stats to start going up daily or something, which is not the case. It's designed to happen over a long period of time because it's supposed to be a valuable service. And because if we made it too fast, then all those special settlers who come stock with a bunch of high stats would be way less valuable if you could just train up any settler to be that good in a couple of days. So it is meant to go slow. So that's not something that changed, but that's something that people are often referring to it making it seem broken. The part that everyone was correct that it was broken, and this again was related to the same issue that was causing all these assignment problems, is multi-person plots. Once again, everybody after the first person assigned to the recreational plot was not correctly being detected as working or as being training, so their stats were never going up. So now you should find after this patch that all your secondary people at your recreational assignment plots, those that were assigned after the first one, those will now correctly start seeing their stats improve over time. So this was something that I'm glad we finally figured out, because it's something I know a lot of you guys have gone all in on and tried to go crazy with it and are wondering why it is that half your settlers are not upgrading. Well, now we know why, and now it is fixed. So hopefully those of you guys who are investing a lot of time into that will find better returns now. So my apologies that it took so long to figure that out. Same with the assignment. I mean, a lot of this stuff, these bugs, without having repeatable steps, which I know it's very difficult for anybody to create those, but without having them, it's very hard for me to make meaningful changes without risking breaking other things. So like I try to be really careful, knowing that so many of you guys play with this as like a core mod in your saves. I don't want to just throw spaghetti at the wall with fixes. So I try to like make sure I have an actual repeatable problem that I can replicate every single time before I start tweaking with things. So I was finally able to get some big ones. So those 3 changes came to be. Now the next thing is something that only a handful of you would have noticed, but we noticed it a ton because I've been working a lot with the team of wonderful volunteers who have been helping convert the ROTC city plans forward to SS2. I guess I should say port, not convert. And we have discovered and fixed a ton of problems with the city plan code. And I talked about this a lot in the last patch notes video, and there was a lot of improvements that came from that. But this time we had a massive gain in speed. Something like, I couldn't give you an exact multiplier, but I'm going to say somewhere you could see up to 5 times speed increases. We'll say that. I think we did have some examples of it being even faster than that, but that was a pretty standard thing that occurred. So basically we found that there was some points in the SS2 city plan code, specifically when upgrading. And this is why I said I don't think a lot of you guys have seen it yet, because there are only a half a dozen city plans in the community so far that have levels, so not very many of you would have experienced this yet, but we found that the code to level up the city plans was extraordinarily slow, and that was because a key part of it wasn't threaded out correctly. I fixed that, and now we're finding that the city plans level up crazy fast. Now, what's going to be funny about this, and the reason I'm bringing it up in this video, is because some of you guys are going to start leveling up your city plans while you're standing in them, and you're going to see that it feels slower. It feels feels like you're stuck in cinematic mode way longer than you would have been normally. And that is actually because I changed the city plan cinematic mode to keep you in it while all of the code runs. And that's because now the code runs fast enough where that's reasonable. Prior, the code would run for so long in the background that I just dropped you out of cinematic mode as soon as a handful of items were placed or as soon as the first song finished playing, knowing that it could take 30, 40 minutes before all the background activity finished. Now all that background activity can finish on a decent CPU in 5 or 6 minutes. So at that point, you might as well stay, listen to the song twice, and then know that your city plan is fully placed. There's nothing else you have to wait for. There's not going to be any wonky overlapping items or missing power lines, etc. All that stuff has been tweaked and restored. So now I have let the city plan authors that I'm in regular contact with know about the improvements we've made, because some of them were actually made to our web tool, which generates city plans, that generates the ESP files for them. I let them know so they can go and regenerate their files and update those. So if you're using any of those city plans from the community, definitely give them a poke on their Nexus page and remind them to do so, because if there are people out there who have released city plans that I'm not aware of, they might not even have seen this change yet, and so they might just need some community encouragement to get them to go upload their settlement designs up one more time and regen the plugin so that you guys can take advantage of all of these improvements. So it's basically a combination of the plugin needs to be regenerated, plus you guys grab this 108 patch and your city plans are going to run way, way better. And all of this has been in preparation for the tons of stuff coming down the pipes very, very soon. With city plan stuff, we've got the ROTC port coming out soon. We've got the city plan contest starting again March 1st. So lots of city plan stuff. All of your dreams are coming true again for leveled city plans. I know you guys have been asking me for that. Now I know the thing that you guys have been more asking for. There's nothing I've seen more than requests for Conqueror in SS2. I can't remember the last video where somebody didn't ask, when is that coming? It's starting to become, people ask more about Conqueror than they ask about Chapter 2, which is pretty funny. And Conqueror is going to come. I can't tell you when. I can only tell you that these changes for these city plans is a huge boon for Conqueror, because one of the key features to make Conqueror really fun is that pre-building of city plans where you start up the game and you get to have all the cities built. Well, having the city plan code all smoothed out and sped up to this level is going to be huge for that. In a test I did, because it's going to take us a while to convert all the Conqueror code. It's a really complex code base. Just doing a test of the idea of pre-builds, the speeds I was able to get with this new code are insane, to where I'm very, very excited to when we finally do get that Conqueror stuff rolled out. So those of you guys who have been waiting patiently for Conqueror, just know that it's always on my mind, and some of these improvements are going to benefit your squad as well when you guys get back in there and start busting faces as raiders or whatever other factions get supported eventually. But again, that's not the focus right now. The focus is the city plans, but I just want to throw you guys a bone because I know there's some of you who are just really, really into Conqueror and waiting for it, and it's still going to be a while, but I'll keep you posted as we have more news regarding that. All right, guys, now, end of the patch note video, we always like to give out a t-shirt. Now, we're having a problem. I think the last 3 times, I haven't got any responses from the people that I've given out the win to. I always go back and do at least 2. So if nobody responds on the first time, I go back and try and comment on somebody else's. So we need to figure out a better system for this. So I'm not sure what that system is going to be. It might be that I will look in 24 hours instead of 48. So we'll try that. Let's try that so today I'm going to post this video up, whatever time of day it is. Within 24 hours, I'll respond to your post. So if you are interested in winning a Sim Settlements t-shirt, you're going to comment below. Doesn't matter what you want to comment. Something with, tell me a funny story about something happened in Sim Settlements. Tell me something you love about it. Tell me something you want to see changed. Tell me about a bug. Tell me about just something related to Sim Settlements, something related to Fallout, something that will make your comment interesting to read, and include in it this hashtag I'm about to give you. And within the next 24 hours, I am going to go grab one of you and give you a chance to get in touch with me. And if you do so, I will hook you up with a t-shirt. So we'll do it within 24 hours. So basically, if you're posting a comment right now, then 24 hours from now, come back and check and see if I commented on your comment with a, hey, you're the winner. Because otherwise we're going to end up with just a massive pile of t-shirts in my closet that have no owners, and that's no good. So let's go with hashtag training day. mostly because I just recently watched that movie, and you know, we just did the training plots, so that's good enough for me. So hashtag training day if you're interested in winning a Sim Settlements t-shirt, and I promise I will get back to one of you within 24 hours, so it might happen sooner. I'm basically just going to look when there's a decent amount of things. Maybe I'll do it Saturday morning or something. I don't know, but sometime in the next 24 hours, I'm going to be picking a name because I don't want to have all these people missing out on getting t-shirts. I love giving these away to you guys. So hashtag training day is how you get it. All right, take care and enjoy the mods.